deck's a good example on like the correct way to approach brewing in Modern, whereas the green-black Shadow deck we just played is a good example of the bad way to approach brewing in Modern. So the bad way to approach brewing in Modern is to take an established deck and then put a bunch of bad, mediocre cards in it, making it worse. This deck is starting with an interaction that's kind of powerful, making 5/5 indestructible creatures, and then trying to lean into that with other constructed playable cards. So rather than starting with a core that's already good at making it worse, we're starting with this inherently powerful idea and then trying to build a shell around it that makes it potentially reasonable. All right, let me update the stream title, and the stream decker will be on our way. Hopefully, we're hoping to not run into any paths or terminus. But I would like the record to reflect, just like, because I can't help not getting shots in against blue-white control whenever possible. Blue-white control was the second most played deck by players with 3 buys at GP Atlanta, and it had 0 copies in the top 32. Second most played deck among the best players in the room with the most free wins. 0 copies in the top 32. I'm gonna mulligan this, right? It's everything we want to do in life with this deck, right? Okie doke. I feel like maybe we have a chance here. If we had a play, we were on the play, we'd probably have a better chance. There is a deck list on your screen via the Stream Decker widget. Alternatively, you could type !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list if you don't have access to Stream Decker for some reason. Is Ensoul Artifact a card that's too clunky for Modern on average? Maybe. How do I ever beat a Wormcoil engine? Can I? Upon further investigation, I'm conceding to Tron. Move along with our lives. The problem, and here's the problem, and this is why people are so bad at assessing when they're actually dead to Tron. You're right. I could beat the Wormcoil. The problem is the Wormcoil buys them so much time that I'm not beating the Karn and or the Ulamog or the Oblivion Stone that follow the Worm Coil up. That's the issue. Or the World Breaker, yeah. I think for like the sake of my sanity and the sake of not ragging on things that happen in Modern, if the deck I'm playing can't Goldfish a turn 3 kill, I'm just conceding matches to Tron from now on. Damping Sphere is probably a card this deck should play. That seems pretty reasonable. We have indestructible threats, and our stuff doesn't die to Ugin. Sure. We get 2 for 1 by Karn, though. We get 4 for 1. We get 4 for 0'd by an Ulamog. Oblivion Stone still kills my Ensoul Artifacts. Yeah, our auras die to Ugin. So what that deck... Oh, so the deck I just conceded to is a deck that's called Tron. It's arguably the most hated deck in Modern. It's a deck that is very consistent because it plays the card Ancient Stirrings, and it assembles 3 lands together that make 7 mana when you have all 3 of them in play at once. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. What's going on, Demox? Thanks for the 8 months. It is incredibly unfair to say the least. It's a little abrupt, opponent. A little abrupt. Thankfully, I've got the Agent of Bolas coming in hot here next. Lingering Souls, sure. Why should we play Moxes? Like, are we ramping to something meaningful? What's the appeal of playing a Mox? So Tezzeret is basically just reading make an indestructible 5/5 gain 2 here, which I think is fine. If I had just plus Tezzeret and they had a green source, they would kill him with Treetop Village. Hopefully they don't have Path to Exile and we can just beat them down with this Darksteel Pendant here. Hey, Germpole, thank you very much for the brand new Prime sub. I appreciate that. Welcome. Good morning. Hope everybody had a good Monday. Had a great weekend. Everyone out there's having a good Monday. Got 600 people in here already. It's pretty good for Modern. Matthew, if you're watching, I just Facebooked you my flight info. Oh, they have a Path to Exile. Excellent. Excellent. Pithing Needle seems great. Opponent seems to be playing a token stack. Bontus and stuff seems great. Hey, Team Darkwater, thanks for the great content. Thank you for the 5-month resub. Welcome back. I think I'm going to trim these ingots. I think I have a little bit too many Darksteel things in this deck overall. Been playing for a bit already, or just this is league number 2 today. We only played like 2.5 matches in the first one though, because the first deck was pretty bad. I will not be at PAX Unplugged. I actually thought about going to that one, but I ended up making plans to go to the Grand Prix in 2 weeks instead. Can't take too much time off from streaming. This job is great, but it unfortunately does not come with PTO. And I'm going to be doing the Invitational as well here soon, so... actually, fun fact, you cannot equip equipment that are creatures. So you can't equip a creature to a creature. PTO is paid time off. Sorry. I don't think so, Beetle. You should message my wife though. She would have wants from there more than I would. Actually, it's funny because back during when Blue-Black Tezzeret was in Standard, you would, what's it called? You would play, what's the word search for? You would use him to down tick and make your opponent's swords 5/5 so they couldn't be equipped to kill you anymore. Rock beats Scissors, yep. Burning Company, that's great. Rock does beat Scissors, doesn't it? Oh man, I totally forgot to update. I have a list of updates from last night's stream that I just didn't make to the donation queue. Man, I was really out of it last night. Need to do that today. Damnation, good amount on that one. Looking for more scissors. Maybe I should have scryed during my upkeep here. Very possible. Sweet, their hand does nothing. It's exciting. Okay, it's a good one. I think I'm leaving this back because... Nah, that's a lie. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to leave this back because if they hit a white source... Actually, they have the Windswept Teeth, right? I don't want them to be able to attack Shambling Vented to Tezzeret here. His Highness Stannis with the 3-month resub. Always miss the stream, but keeping up on the YouTube. Thanks for the great content. Thanks for the 3 months. Thanks for dropping in and keeping the sub going, even though you can't catch us live. We appreciate the support. It was really bad, Savage Rocker. Ended up just like being bad green-black rock, like a lot of those decks do. Alright, onward, upward, backward, forward. Nah, this is just modern. Modern's pretty much all of a meme. My favorite card of all time, probably Spellstutter Spray. Tron's hot take. Tron's always been good. I've asked you to play a bunch of junk, bump something in modern. Do you want to play? Thanks for the bits, Goalie. Goalie, I think we're gonna do I think we're gonna play your Stasis deck on Wednesday. FYI. I'm gonna start with it Wednesday morning. Alright, so this is the same as Ensoul. It just comes back after it dies. I shall defend Hoaglandia with honor and snark. God bless the snark. I knight thee, defender of the realm, go forth and protect us from Twitch chat. Alright, we might just like smash our way through here. I'm pretty sure I don't play Tezzeret next turn. I just like hit them for 10, right? I think there's a chance, chat. Wow, that's an aggressive attack. Am I killing Sorin? I think I'm supposed to kill Sorin here. So, I don't know any of the spells in their hand. They just have another one. That's unfortunate. He's very difficult to race because he gives their creatures lifelink. And Hex announces their cutoff date. How much for a 12-hour farewell stream? I mean, will there even be people playing? Like, you probably can't even have a farewell stream because there won't be anybody to play with. I remembered Wasselmose. Thanks for the 213 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I need to leave a Darksteel Citadel back here, because otherwise I'm going to lose the race to this tracker. It's a little unfortunate. It's so weird to me that people... what's the best way to phrase this? I don't feel like I've changed my approach to Modern in the slightest, but people keep being like, why do you hate Modern? Like, I feel like people are upset about me being critical about Modern because Standard is good. Like, when Standard sucked and I was critical of Modern, people are just like, yeah, that's Modern, haha, we'll play some more games. But now people are like, because Standard's good, but I'm like, yeah, this sucks about Modern. People are like, blah, 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 why you hate Modern so much, Hogland, blah, blah, blah. I don't get it. Like, I don't feel like it's always been kind of a borderline joke on this format, on this stream, like that I concede a lot of matches while we play Modern, right? 'Cause there's always been a lot of bad matches of Magic in Modern. Like, I don't get it. I need to run to the bathroom for a second. I'll be right back. We're gonna lose one more match with this, then move on to the next one. The next two decks we have today are pretty reasonable. Sultai Mill has been consistently pretty good, and the Bant mid-range deck could go either way. If we play against a lot of Tron, we're gonna die, but otherwise it's probably fine. I'll be right back. You seem to go out of your way to complain about Modern consistently. Is, like, I guess I just don't know how to approach, like, what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not, right? Because, like, people assume tone with everything, right? Like, if I can say Tron beats up these, like, am I not allowed to, like, say the truth? Like, if the truth can have a negative connotation attached to it, I'm just not allowed to say it, otherwise I'm needlessly complaining. Like, I don't get it. Dredge 6, thanks for the 6-month tier 3 resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Honestly, I don't even know that I'm burned on Modern so much as I feel like the number of bad decks I've played recently has grated on me a little bit. Like when we played Amulet Titan last night, that was pretty great. But like this and the green black deck before this one, I'm kind of having a hard time being upbeat about these. They're just like not really good decks. Yeah, I think that's the big thing a lot of people don't get, right? Like, people think that in order for you to like something, you have to think it's perfect, when in reality, like, very few things are perfect. Like, in fact, if you really like something, being critical and being specific about how it could improve is probably a good thing for it. I blame you for having to sit here perfect fitting my standard cards. At least your rants about Modern make for quality background noise. Bump the card test deck. We'll do pikes. Someone else bumped card test too, so that'll probably be towards the top tomorrow. I think if you had a positive, like what does a positive way look like? Do you distinguish Storm from Tron in terms of play alone decks? So Storm is definitely what is defined as a linear deck. It doesn't tend to want to interact with its opponent. The important critical difference between a deck like Tron and a deck like Storm is that Storm is easier to interact with than Tron. So the easiest way to do this, or have it appear this way, is that looking at looking at the decks, or sit down and write down the number of cards that meaningfully interact with Storm, and then write down the number of cards that meaningfully interact with Tron, and then compare the lists. And like, just no cards in, no spells in hand, draw the best one in the deck. Yep. Do you think it's a problem that Bolt and Path? No. No, I don't think it's a problem that there's a bunch of interactive cards played in Modern. In fact, of all of Modern's issues, Bolt and Path are like not even close to topping it. I'm doing okay. I'm not 100%, but I'm better. And yeah, I think that I am gonna do that, Scholar. In fact, the last two decks I have today are pretty reasonable. But I think alternating them is a good suggestion. Just like pick deck at the top of the queue. If that deck is a crappy deck, make sure the deck that follows it is a good one, and then rotate back and forth as I work through the chaff that I've accepted. That's true. We could just double Fatal Push it. Well, I don't want to switch formats. I think there's enough good Modern decks in the queue that I can do all Modern on days I'm doing Modern. But like there's some poop hiding in there too, don't get me wrong, but I think we have enough good Modern decks that I can alternate back and forth, like bad Modern deck, reasonable Modern deck, bad Modern deck, reasonable Modern deck. Why no scry at the end of the opponent's turn? That's a good suggestion. It didn't matter in this case because I drew Tezzeret, but that's a good suggestion. Yeah, I think the Sultai Mill deck is fine. Do you build the deck on stream if a user pays for it? I do not. Building decks on stream is an incredibly frustrating and not efficient use of my time. Yeah, that game there was a good example of why this deck's not very good. We just like have a bunch of cards that aren't very good Magic cards, that aren't playable in Modern, and then when we draw the wrong mix of those cards together, like you draw too many of these cards and not enough of these, and then like even when you draw the right mix of them, your opponent can have Abrupt Decays or Path to Exiles, or just like outlinear you. Just like didn't feel incredibly good.